Hi, this is Margaret from Margaret's Crafts. I wanted to share with you my 2011 favorites and must-haves Tag Your It video. I was tagged by Choco Drop 2 RJ. Thanks for the tag. And I'd like to share some of my favorites with you. Some of my favorites are, I like the Big Bite or the Crocodile. I also have the Big Bite. I use them both. Love to use these for making large holes and small holes and everything, and the idea that I get to put my different tips in to change them out and not have to do all that hammering. The hammering would freak my dog out. Another one of my favorites are my Tim Holtz dies. I love the Tim Holtz or the Sizzix dies. The steel rule dies, because I love when I do different things. I love to do it with a thick cardstock. So I put my paper and my cardstock together already and then get a nice cut. And it cuts so nice and deep. And sometimes when you're just doing paper, you can get several cuts at one time. Then I also love his movers and shapers. I love to cut the different shapes, and I can put the cuts where I want to put the cuts. One of my favorite glues are the Aleene's Fast Grab Tacky Glue. I use this when I make my flowers a lot because, and I also put it in this little container that I can just dip like the tip of my flower in there, and this container locks it so it stays in. Because before I would just take the lid off, squeeze it up to the top, and then dip the end of my flower. But putting it in a little airtight container helps a whole lot. So that's what I love about my tacky. For doing the little detailed cuts with my Cricut, I love to use this adhesive tech. This is excellent because it has a little fine point, and it gives you just the amount of glue that you need when you're gluing those little tight little pieces together. And also for gluing my little pieces, I love to use this little Xyron. I found that I use this so much now doing letterings on stuff. Instead of trying to get the glue on them, I could just run it through the Xyron and put it on. And I think this was an adhesive remover. I'm sorry I don't have the name for it. But I love to use this with my Xyron, because once I get, that's why I keep it right in there. Because you know how the Xyron, sometimes you get those little webs in the middle. I just use this when I'm doing my letters and go around the little edges, and it just takes that little glue right off of there. Another thing I have to have, I use all the time, is dimensionals. I use dimensionals on my cards. I use dimensionals on my scrapbook pages. I use dimensionals on my mini books. I use dimensionals all the time. I go through dimensionals like crazy. Another must-have is a good pair of scissors. And I put these up. My kids aren't allowed to touch these scissors. They can use any of my other scissors. But this is a good pair of Martha Stewart scissors. Gotta have a good pair of scissors. For cutting out, when you're cutting around your items, another good thing is you have to have a nice sharp pair of small scissors for precision cutting. And these are the EK Success. I think they're called Bumblebee or Bumblebee, something like that, scissors. Got to have a good sharp pair. This is another pair you don't let anybody get their hands on. These are just for you. Must have for card makers is a good bone folder, a nice bone folder, so that you can press out those pages, those edges real good. This is for making boxes. This is for making anything to get you a nice crisp edge. For distressing my cards, my scrapbook pages, my mini albums, I love the Tim Holtz distressed inks. They work very well. When I make my cards, I do a lot of the stamps. And when I stamp, I have to have my Copic markers. Copic markers are for me, one of my favorite things that I like to use. And a must-have if you have the Copic markers is your blending blending pen, the 0. Gotta have that. Cleans up all mistakes, helps with the blending and everything like that. Okay, and also not just for my cards, but for scrapbook pages, for my cards, for anything where you need to do a fine point little glitter is the Spica. I think I'm saying that right. Pens. I love how they put the little glitter on. It's different from the stickles, which is another must-have. Love my stickles on scrapbook pages, cards, center of flowers, all kinds of things I use the stickles on. And this gives a flat, and then this one gives a raised. They both give a nice shine to all of your items. Another great tool that I find that I use a lot is the hot glue gun. I love the one with the little precision tip. If you can see, the tip goes down because you can get small dots of glue into the little areas and not just a bigger one. So this small precision tip glue gun is it. Next, I use for everything is my ATG gun, the Advanced Tape Glider. I actually have 2 of these. I have the first one that was red, but I painted it white. That is what I use with my general glue in there. The pink one I got on sale, I use that with my acid-free because you don't need to use up, your acid-free is more expensive. You don't need to use up your acid-free tape. I don't with making cards. So I use the white one with the making cards, and I use the pink one when I'm doing my scrapbook pages, so I know I have my acid-free tape in it. Another thing is your punches. I love the border punches. I use the Martha Stewart border punches. I use the EK. I use the Fiskars. Any border punch. I love all different types of border punches for my cards, my scrapbook pages, and my mini albums. I also love my punches. When I'm not using my Cricut or my Cuttlebug for cutting out shapes to make flowers and stuff, I have some of the punches that I also make my flowers with. I have some EK punches. I have the McGill punches. Excellent, because I love to make 3-dimensional flowers for my scrapbook pages, my mini albums, and my cards. I also have the Bind It All. And I have the corner rounder for the Bind It All to round my corners. And you don't have to just use this on your Bind It All. You use this on any of your pages. You use if you make a mini albums for the card, the chipboard. This cuts right through it. I've been through a lot of cutters. This is my favorite cutter. It's the one by Fiskars. It has the extending arm that comes out. They have the different types. This one has the little blade on the inside. Just like a rotary cutter. It doesn't have the one that just slides, because it seems like I go through that a lot. This one has a little blade and then it locks down. I love this one. Plus, I've had no problems with getting very even cuts with this one. Next is my Martha Stewart scoreboard. Love my scoreboard for making cards, making boxes, and anything like that. I use my Martha Stewart scoreboard. Okay, also, but it's not on the, it's too big. I use one of my must-haves, or my favorites, is my Cricut. I have the Cricut Create, and because I don't do a lot of giant size items, I can make anything I want with my Cricut Create. I've made the letterings for the walls. I make items, embellishments for my scrapbook pages, and for my cards. And another thing that I have to have for me is my Cuttlebug. I like it because it folds up, it stays out of the way, but I can use all of the dies, all the Sizzix dies, the Sizzix XL dies, the Big E's dies. Like I said, I showed you the Tim Holtz dies. I cut all of those with my Sizzix. I guess that's all of my favorites for now. And I'm tagging TheCoutureCrafter. I'll have a tag at the bottom of my video, and tag you're it. Thanks for watching my video. Bye.